So you added padding here, right?
Yes.
That's great. Look how much that helps, right? Yes?
Didn't know what to do with the ceiling though. I don't know. I just left it at that.
Yeah, it might be okay. Another thing I might do, let's see if we can do this. Because they're padded walls, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if I can break this up a little bit right here. So I'm gonna grab a brush. I'm gonna see if I can just, hey, you guys got all those Illustrator tools, right? No? Josh, did you get them?
I haven't downloaded them, but I thought they were added to the same location as like the folder and the Zoom.
They are. They're under announcements.
Yeah, I saw them, but I haven't downloaded them. But I think they're there.
Download them because I want you to play with them.
Okay.
Just screw around with them.
Sounds good.
Because it might be something
Oh, it is.
that's useful. Okay, you also change the color of these lines, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks nicer.
Yeah, I got rid of a few of them and just changed a few of the lines, like the donut hole.
Are you gonna leave his eyes without a pupil, or do they have one in there?
Probably just gonna leave it without a pupil.
Okay, that's fine.
I did mess with the offset thing you showed me on Monday.
Offset
for the
path?
shoes. Yeah, I didn't use it just for the shoes. I used it for the belts as well. But I think
Looks
they're a little
pretty good to me. This shoe might get a little bigger. This one looks really good. The only thing I might do is maybe put just a slight gradient at the top, because your shoe sits like that. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if I turn this and I have light hitting here, and it can go from just a little lighter, not really light, to darker, then that means that this will pop out of the shadow a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then I'm just going to see if I can do this with a brush. I'm trying to find my damn tool set. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. We have that. I don't want this. Okay, that's weird. Hang on. Okay, that's really irritating. For some reason, this thing is not sampling. Hang on. Oh, okay. Hang on. That's better. Wait a minute. I'm getting this really weird thing here. Hang on. This is really irritating. Hang on a sec. For some reason, this is not sampling. I don't know why.
I did put a filter there, so you might want to close that layer.
That might be it. Hang on.
Yeah, it's layer 23. You might want to.
You actually remember your layers?
Yeah, I am also looking at it. There you go.
It's all right. I'll just do it this way. How can I do this? Yeah, because that's why, because it's like affecting the color.
Yeah.
Hang on.
It's a gray with like a with a multiplier on it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
There it goes. That's good. So what's going in? That's why. So I don't know why my tools are all screwy right now. hang on. It's at 65. I wanted it 100. This might not be the way. I don't know why my tools are all screwed up. Okay, I'm gonna do it by hand. For some reason, I was just gonna do it with a brush, but it's giving me all these problems. I don't feel like screwing around with it. So let's go back to turn that on. And where's the shadow layer? Let's see. It's right
I have them in background shadow.
right there. I got
Yeah.
it. And then I'm just gonna come in here and see if I can do it this way. Now, one thing. It's going to have to go on that same layer. Otherwise, that's part of the problem. So let's go. That is the background shadow. It's weird. Not exactly sure what's going on here.
It might be unlocked.
Okay, this is super weird. It's because I don't know how it was built. And then this, because it's not picking up the same color, which is weird. So let's see something here. So there's more going on here than just the overlay, I think. Wait a minute, maybe that is. Because if I'm on this layer and I use the same color, it should be the same color. Because it's both looking at it through the overlay.
Yeah, you might want to turn off the overlay because it's picking
Yeah,
up the overlay.
if I'm on the same layer, though, it should show up the same way. Unless there's like an opacity thing here. Let's see. No, it's at 100%. That doesn't make any sense.
I might have kept that one at 100% by
Got
accident.
them at all different opacities. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's just really hard for me to do here without taking a bunch of time. So what I want to do is I probably want to pull. I'm going to see if I can do this. It's probably going to screw it up, but I'm just going to see if I can do it. It's going to screw it up a little bit, but I think it'll be all right. Let's see if this will work. Okay, that's super annoying. So now I'm going to do this then. I'll just do it in Photoshop. It'll be the same thing. But I would do it with my pen tool or my brush tool, whatever I have to use. Because I can't untangle all these layers in class yet. You know what I mean? In a short time frame. Hang on. Damn it. That's fine. And that's one of those things, if I was going to send to a client, I might try and make sure that they can access it easy enough. Now, sometimes you really can't because it's the way it's built, and that's that. What I was going to say is I'd probably come in here. And, you know, I could just do this with my pen tool, or if I maybe freehand it, maybe. And I'd probably put a couple of little folds coming from here just to break it up, because it's going to be, if it's soft and it's a fabric and it's folded or it's tucked in, it might get a little bit of like folds in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially for the padding.
Yeah, and then I might even go in here and take some of that, some of this, and maybe highlight it on the other side. Now that's really ham-fisted, but you get the idea, right? It would I would never do it that sloppy, okay?
Yeah, because padding is supposed to be perfect. There should be like creases and some stuff on it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get overboard with it. I'm just going to kind of make sure that it looks okay. And I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to put them everywhere or any of that kind of stuff. God damn it. I don't like having a meeting because it makes me feel like I'm short on time all the time. A little more like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just here and there. I also might come in here and just screw up some of these a little bit so they're not so perfect. because it's fabric or whatever it is. I think it's fabric. And start to kind of,
Like leave some untouched, but leave some touch.
yeah, I don't have to do it everywhere, because when you just start doing everything everywhere, it starts to get so uniform, it looks weird.
And kind of flat.
Let's
too.
see how it's getting a little more fabric-y and soft. Yeah? You there?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Is it off?
No, I think sometimes you're nodding and I'm not looking. So, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So other than that, I think you're just going in the right direction. I think it's fine. Yeah, you have any questions?
Should you do anything regarding the font? Because it kind of looks, what's it called? Flat. Isn't it?
I might pick a different font. By the way, you guys, everybody, I just watched this last night. There was actually 2 episodes I watched. You guys ever watch, any of you watch Abstract on Netflix? You
I
have,
saw one, but I forgot what episode. I think it was something to do with fashion episode. I watched it with Elan, so.
I would say watch every episode, number 1. But the one I watched last night was with, I think his name's Jonathan Hoffler. I think it's John Hoffler. Anyway, I know his last name's Hoffler, but he's a type designer. And I've always admired type designers because I think that's an insanely hard thing to design. And this guy's at the pinnacle of it. And what I want you to look at is look at that and go, look at how fine-tuned that guy's eyes are. Like they go through this whole process with him because he's been doing this for like a long time. And he's sort of at the pinnacle of it, top of it. He's got a typeface he designed early on for like Apple came to him when they started needing typefaces for the thing, and they used it for, I guess they've used it. He's designed stuff for, he said that typeface has been on every single Apple product ever since. Okay. Now that's got to mean a lot of money because that's some sort of residual thing that keeps happening. And they keep coming back to him, and he's probably making a shit ton of money, right? But then he wanted to create this new typeface. So he went out and he bought, he likes to do all this historical research. And he started buying all these wristwatches from a long time ago and stuff. And he was looking at the way they design the type. And then he just gets ideas from it. And he goes, this is really interesting. And then he goes down this whole rabbit hole of this design process. It's really interesting. And then he does the Guggenheim, and he'll talk about stuff where he's like, see how this is. And they talk a lot about the balance of type, which is something I've always been fascinated by. And I by no means think I could do it because I'm not, I think you have to be a specific type designer. And he does a lot of comparisons where he goes, in order for these 2 letters to look the same, it's actually a little fatter in the middle. And this one's just a hair taller. But when you put them next to each other, they look exactly balanced, but they're not. And there's all these names for all these optical things that happen. And for me, it's just a good microcosm of design in general. Does that make sense? Because I learned it when I was in college. I had to take a type class. We had to do it by hand and stuff. And I learned a ton from it. Basically this. And I had a great type teacher. But this guy's like insane. And he brought up all the things that are happening right now with type, which I hadn't thought of really, where he's building things into them. They're building things into them that scale and repeat and change. Like if you're looking at a phone and you're scrolling through and all of a sudden you shrink your screen or something, that automatically readjusts the type so it's readable and clear. Does that make sense? It's an insane rabbit hole. Okay. And then he's doing one for the Guggenheim, and he describes, it's based on the classic letters from the Guggenheim, but he goes, it's a little, and as he's describing this, I go, he's exactly right. He goes, by raising that crossbar, it does this to the design. I want to take that and I want to make it just a clean, beautiful version of it. And then they show it on the page, laid out. It is so balanced. It's just satisfying. Does that make sense? It's just so balanced. I'm super into balance right now, by the way. Okay. Everything in my brain right now is about balance. Every drawing, everything I design, everything, whatever. It's all about balance right now. Okay. Okay. So you have any other questions?
So I just get rid of the tally marks.
These here?
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't make them if he's in a straitjacket. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could also say that every now and then he goes wacky and they have to restrain him, and I'd leave him in. Right? I don't know if I'd have them all at this angle, that kind of curve. I think I'd just get a kind of crappy looking font and just you could freehand it with a brush even if you wanted, right? But it's good. It's nice. It's really punchy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what else I might do? I might come in here. And like maybe here where's the bottom half of them is, I might take a little bit of that color down there. God damn it. There it is. Okay, the reason I couldn't see the edges is I must have hit Command H. Oh God, this file's gonna make me crazy.
My bad.
It's not, no, it's not. You didn't do anything wrong. You just,
I should probably fix that in case a client wants to look at
you
it.
just have to be aware of it. That's all.
Yeah.
And sometimes, by the way, it's just the way it's built, and that's that. You know what I mean? Because you are going to use layers and all. That's one of the things I think I told you about that boss that I had when he'd get on me about it. And it's like, dude, this is the way this has to be built. And I remember telling him, I go, look, you don't get this. I'm making stuff that's more complicated than you do. I'm a better illustrator than you. I'm a better designer than you. So I'm going to push these things a lot further than you. So stop telling me to simplify all my work. You know what I mean? But I might pull some of this color down here just a little bit in front of him, just so it feels like he's sinking in a little bit.
I see.
Does that make sense? And it's
Yeah.
real subtle. You know, you don't have to do much with it. You don't have to overdo it. Might just take the same shape and reshape it. Just get a little more of that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always think about the physics of what's going on. And I know we're making graphics, but they're cool little graphic things you can throw in there. You know what I mean? Here we go. Ooh, I love this color right here.
Oh, thank you.
That shine you got, that's nice. Mine was like way too much. This is way nicer.
I actually changed the layer to an overlay, so that helped
Yeah.
with the color.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you did all this.
Mm-hmm. I actually had a bit of trouble with the cup. I'm not sure if it looks too gray because I was trying to add the highlight in.
No, I think it's fine. The only thing I might adjust here is this shadow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Or I might actually do it where it's this full color here and then it fades off into this color. I think I would do that.
Okay, so it's not as harsh.
So it doesn't just in like that, it just fades into this color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And that, always keep in mind of that because that comes down to edges. Like when you talk about edges and painting, like on my cheek, you can't see here because I'm kind of blown out, but usually a cheek, it's always going to have more or less a pretty soft edge, right? Because it's a soft continuous curve basically, right? Now sometimes you could get a little harsher shadow on here, but more than likely coming up into and rolling into a very subtle curve like that, it'll probably be a fairly soft edge. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You got any questions?
I think I'm okay. Is there anything else I should work on?
I might maybe here. That's too much. Let's go a little darker right there.
Mm-hmm.
Just a hair.
Okay.
I think it looks pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah? What do you think?
I'm pretty satisfied with it so far.
Good. I'm going to lock this for a second. And then here, this is just drawing stuff here. I might take this edge. Let's get in closer. Might take, I don't know which points it's going to be. Let's try this. And I would grab the right points. I don't think I have all of them. Shit. What I would do is I would just pull that ellipse on the bottom so it just bows a little more.
For the cup.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it'd be a little more like right now. I can't quite grab the right handles. Right now it's like that, let's say, right? But if you compare it to this one up here, it's very similar to the ellipse, right? But if I'm up here, that means down here, this ellipse is just going to get a little wider like that.
Okay.
See how that feels a little better? When you're looking at an ellipse, it's, let's say you're looking at it here, and then when you look down, it opens up a little bit, about 5 degrees. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the reason I know that's 5 degrees is because of Gary Meyer. Literally. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Josh Borgia. Oh, that Josh Borgia. Ooh. Ooh, I love that texture.
Thank you. Actually, I have a question about that.
No.
When I added the texture,
Yeah.
it created like a white outline. You could see it kind of around the monster's arm.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Is there any way to like?
How did you
remove that?
create the texture?
I.
Not fast enough.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I just clicked on like the green part, like his skin, basically. I did it through effect. I think it was like texturize.
Oh, okay. That's that's like a filter then, right?
Yeah.
This might be a filter I haven't used.
Yeah, I was just like messing around with them, and I found out.
Yeah,
And I was
that's
like,
fine.
that's kind of cool.
It might be, let's see. No, it's not that. And there's no outline, so I was going to say maybe it's outlined. It might be a byproduct of the filter
Right.
itself, which is why sometimes with things like this, like let's do this. I still got an hour. I'm okay. This looks really good though, right?
Thank you.
Here's what I might do. Let's go to our brushes because I gave you guys these brushes now. So apparently nobody cares or Josh doesn't care, but I understand. It's fun. My feelings aren't hurt or anything.
I'll use all the brushes this weekend.
Yeah, just play around with them.
Yeah.
I don't know why my stuff keeps getting rearranged. So here's a nice one here. Let's go to.
How do you install them?
Huh?
How do you install the brushes?
I'm going to show you right now. I don't know why my whole system here is acting really weird. Okay, so here's my brush palette, right? I'm going to go to this flyout menu, open brush library, and I'm going to go to other library. And then I'm going to go search, or if you know where they are, gouache brushes. Here they are, gouache. And then it's going to be this right here, this AI file. It says gouache shader brushes. And double click it. And now what it does is it creates this new, and here's the other one, the gray Etcher one right here. It creates these new palettes for it, right? This is my general brushes one. I want to put this up here. And then here's my gouache one. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Okay, so then you go, then I'm going to go here. And, there's a bunch of ways you can do this, and you'll land on your own way of doing it. Let me get rid of Photoshop. So let's take this shape. Yeah, let's take this shape. let's just take all of this. I'm just going to throw it in another file so it's easier for me to show you. Now, here's what sucks though. I don't know why it's doing this stuff. Hang on. File new. So the reason it should be doing that is right here. See right here, you guys, where it says Artboards 4. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm just going to back it to 1. So if you want to do a multi-page document, you'd bump it up to whatever you want. And then if I export it as a PDF, it would just automatically put them all in pages, which is a nice function. You can go create, paste. Oh, you're using a couple of interesting things in here. I don't know if I've used the sponge brush in here.
The sponge one was the one that I used for the
Okay,
stain.
so that's, I'm gonna have to look at that then. Is it, what was it under?
It was under effects and I think texturize.
Okay. That's a whole different animal. I tend, and that's just me, by the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Look how good that looks. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I want to go in here and see if I can find it. And of course, this has to stick this over here where I don't want it. Hang on. You guys can't see what I'm yelling at. It's in Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to go to Appearance. And here's the sponge brush. Here's the various things that you've put on here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So if you want to get rid of it, you should be able to go here and just throw it in the trash. And now it's gone. You need to know that because I've actually had people call me up who knew me and go, dude, I can't get rid of this thing I put on here. It was in Photoshop. And then I go, it's under Appearance. You can get rid of it in there. This guy called me a genius over that. And I go, I think that's hardly genius. And we'll get rid of the sponge. I'm glad you're playing with that though, because you might like your way better. But I'm going to come here and just go, maybe I'll do. I'm going to pull this out. Then I'm just going to take a brush. I'll just do it here. Then I'm going to go. I'm going to fill it with that color. Then I'm going to go, let's go a little lighter. And now I'm going to go to my gouache brushes, wherever those are. See, they're not loaded in here now because I loaded it into a different document. So let's just go back to, oh, there they are here. And see, I can now start to kind of control my texture a little more.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's a very it's a very, you know, and I could go through these different, these are gouache brushes. And they're nice, kind of random. And then if I went to a smaller brush, see how they get tighter? Like I kind of like that. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Look at that one. Let's play with that one just for the hell of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape that you already created, put it on top, select both of them, go to Clipping Mask, Make. You know, and I'd have to put it in the right order in my layers. And now I really get like a nice little gouache edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to put whatever I want in front of that in front of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And, or I could go here. Oops. I could go to layer or transparency and see if there's any overlays that look good. See, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. I like that one actually. And now I'm getting these really nice sort of textury, very controlled edges, textures, whatever I'm after. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that's cool. I'm
then,
gonna try that.
And then I might come over here and go, okay, let's grab another one. So that's that's underneath him. Now let's take one and go. And I could probably do this. I could even do an offset path in and then just cut off that path so it exactly follows the outside. I don't really need to do that because since it's a texture, oops, I'm just going to kind of follow this perimeter out here. And then let's go to same deal. Let's go a little lighter. Now I'm going to assign that to my, okay, so see how I can't, let's pull it forward. Let's go X and pull our line forward. Now I can make it the fill color. Then I'll just get rid of the fill color. Pull my line again. And then I'm going to go back to my gouache thing and see what else I got in here. All those are pretty heavy, but you know, I can also, again, come in here and back this down. Don't put a loop in there like that. And back this down and get all these different, you know, types of edges and things, but I don't want it that, like that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Let's just try that. Then we'll do the same drill. I'm going to go to my clipping path, make. So now I could spread that around maybe the top part. And maybe try the same drill. Well, let's see what I can get with overlays in my transparency palette. I kind of like that too. Okay, so another thing is if I go in here and I double click it, it will let me adjust what's inside that clipping mask because normally it's going to select the whole clipping mask. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try, let's try color burn. Not bad. Let's try screen. That's a really subtle texture. Let's try color dodge. Goes away completely. Overlay. Kind of like overlay. And then let's see if I can go in here now and go make this a little bigger. So now it'll cover more of the monster. And then I go, okay, that's too harsh now. So now I need to go, how do I knock it? And the other thing I have to do, you know, if I like that, I might go, let's knock down the opacity. Like, I don't mind that too much. It's a little more subtle. Does that make sense? You know, and then I have to come in here and make sure, like, do I want, I'm going to lock this. Do I want like that, pull it up so they're on top of that? I might come, and some of these I might leave with a little bit of the texture. I think that's okay. I just want to make sure that I pull things that I feel like should be in front of the texture in front of it. And usually when you're doing it in your layers as you're building this, you'll totally just build it as you're going, right?
Yeah.
And then I always like to have, oops. I always like to give them the side eye. Hang on. Oops. Oh, I see how you built
it. That's cool.
I don't know why I always think it's funny if they're looking over to the side. I don't know. Okay. See, that looks pretty nice, right?
Yeah, I like it.
See how these things elevate everything?
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to understand, it's not that it's elevating it because, ooh, it's a gouache brush, ooh, it's a texture brush. It's not that. It's that next level of design and things like that, which is, again, and I still got to find these, that you just And there's a lot of really amazing vector people right now. So you actually do see a lot of good work. But most of the student work I see, or even people are I don't know, just don't really know this stuff. Their work in Illustrator looks like shit. Okay. And it's partly because they just don't know any of this stuff. And it's really design stuff more than it is. Too many students attribute this stuff to like, ooh, it's cool brushes. It's not cool brushes. It's what you do with them, right? If you just start throwing this stuff willy-nilly all over everything, it's not going to help anything, right?
Yeah.
But look how cool it is. It's a cool looking design.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So on the leg,
Mhm.
like closest to us to the back of it, some of the texture is like spreading out further than,
We're here.
yeah. So you see like those,
right there.
yeah. Is there a way to like limit it, or
It's because it is limited. It's because I don't have it. Hang on. I don't have it lined up.
Oh, okay.
Fast. So that
Oh,
all I have to
right.
do is just line up my mask.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Jesus, Johnny Picky, man. All right, so let's take this guy now. Let's group him. Gruppo. And let's go here. Let's see if we can go. Sorry, I don't know where everything is. I don't know where all the layers are, so I'm just going to do it by hand. There's a lot of nice things going on with this, by the way. And this is kind of where I was seeing it. Like once you start adding some like texture and things onto it, it adds another layer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because I talked to a lot of people about the whole texture thing in Photoshop or Illustrator, and they always go, "Oh, I take it into Photoshop for all that," and it's like I don't want to take it into Photoshop. I mean, not that I never do, but for the most part, I don't want to do that because I want to keep this resolution independent.
Right.
Wait, let me just lock this.
All the like the spots should be in one layer.
Thanks for
Everything
telling
else
me
would be-
before I went down this rabbit hole. But it's fine. I'll probably have enough here. That's enough. So let's go. Boom. Where'd he go? Let's put this guy. Let's put this guy on top, actually. Now what happened? I grouped this, didn't I?
I thought you did.
So what I was going to say is, come on. Oh, God, that's annoying. Hang on. I did group it. Let's go see. Let's go back here. Come on, there we go. So let's just put this guy here for now. And then same thing, I probably do something like that on it because a macaroon's going to also have some texture on it, right?
Yeah.
Got some on there, but or I'm not sure if you do or not.
I have a little bit.
Yeah, so I'd figured that one out, and then you know, maybe let's put a layer here. Maybe down here on the ground plane and stuff. And let's pick this color. And let's make it pull it because remember you're not filling here. You're it's a line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna make a color. Hang on. And let's go back to our gouache brushes again. narrow it out. Now, remember too, I was on another tool, and if you notice, the stroke thing wasn't up in the control bar, right? I had to go back and reselect the line with my black arrow tool, and then it knows it's a line, and it brings back up this dialog. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I'd start playing around with these a little bit. Then go, maybe that's not the right one. That way, like where there's maybe a shadow cast, I can also get a little texture in there. Because in my mind, there'd be some kind of, you know, debris and stuff. And then I might go, you know, and it just starts to give it a little bit of punch. You see that?
Yeah.
And then I want to scatter that around. I don't want that everywhere, right? Another thing I could do is I could probably, like, let's say back here, and I'm overdoing this, but I just want you to get the point. Maybe I'd assign this one something. That's too much. So let's go lighter. You know, I might throw some of this somewhere back there so it feels like dust being kicked up. But then what I might do is I might outline, or I might even be able to do it without outlining. Let's see. I'm going to go to swatches. And I'm going to go up here. Oops. I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to go to my here. I think I'm going to have to outline stroke. So let's go object, path, outline stroke. Now it's just a bunch of shapes. So now maybe I assign that gradient to it, or a gradient to it. Hang on. I want to go here. Now, sometimes I don't know why this does this. Sometimes you'll lose your attenuator or whatever it's called. So let's see. See, it says high gradient attenuator. So that means it should be there. This is some kind of glitch. I've been trying to figure out how to fix this. So all it's doing is I'm not getting my, you know, my bar that you usually see here.
Yeah.
So, which is really stupid. But see how I can fade it out so it's not so prominent? So it feels more like dusty. You know, there's two monsters brawling here, so there might be dust being kicked up, right? Probably put it more here. And then let's go the other way now. Yeah, so now I want to fade it out from the ground going up, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense?
That's cool.
And I can start getting some nice little, one thing in Illustrator, I think, now sometimes the flat stuff just looks great. But sometimes if you notice, this adds another layer of dimension to it. And another layer of design to it. And it's also sort of loosens it up a little bit, because what I hear from people all the time is they go, oh, that's just that flat vector stuff, that flat, super flat, they call it, right? It's like, no, not once I add organic elements into it, it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, if you did this thing for a client, like, okay, so like, let's say this was Zombie Donuts, and I really like this, and because I would, right? And I'd go, hey man, I want to go to a Zombie Donuts, if I remember right, has an open wall on one side. I would totally go, can you size this to the ratio of whatever that wall is, 12 by 14 feet, and go, okay. And then I take it to a sign painter, and I'd have that thing mounted, or not a sign painter, a sign, you know, place. I'd have mounted on outdoor stock and all that stuff, and I'd just have it mounted to the wall, and I'd have myself a big mural. Why? Because it's resolution independent, and I can go as big as I want with it. And if I was going to do something like that on my wall, that's exactly how I do it. I would not want somebody painting it, because that means I got to go find somebody who actually knows how to do that, which is not that easy. Okay. And this way it's perfect. It's like, that's exactly what I want. I don't have to have it translated. I can go over to Signs for Less, which is around the corner, and they actually do pretty good work, and go, I want to mount this on an outdoor stock. I need 4 grommet or 4, you know, whatever they are, all grommet kind of things. And so I can mount it on the wall, and they'll just do it for you, and they'll do it, you know, whatever it costs. It's gonna be cheaper than having somebody paint it, that's for sure. You know what I mean? And then boom, instant mural, right? So you can see that texture adds quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I really love the design of that Godzilla looking thing.
Thank you. It was fun to do.
When you showed it in the drawing, this is how I pictured it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's why I was excited about it. Because I'm like, man, if he makes it look like that, it's going to be cool. And remember, you could also come in here and go, okay, maybe I don't want that texture. Maybe I want maybe it would have some other thing. Because I don't want you to think these are just for any one particular thing. Hang on. So let's go back here again. Let's go there. Let's just use that. And I'm going to go over to these etcher brushes. What else do I have in here? Grave etcher. Let's try this. And now if you see that, what that's putting in there now is this little thing. So I might combine textures. Like, see that? Yeah?
Yeah.
So now I might come in here and go, well, maybe this is what I used to begin with. But if you notice now, it's starting to combine a little bit of texture, and that's kind of cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting these like spotted things, which is kind of cool. Or I could go here, look. That's kind of cool too. So if you don't sit there and just go, oh, I'm using the etching brushes because I want to make something that looks like an etching. No, it's just texture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch of them in here. Look at that one. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I might come in here and like outline the stroke and come in here and go, I'm going to knock this one out and erase that one and just shape it the way I want. Like, you know, you can combine up these textures a little bit. So you start to get a fairly complex surface form. Look at that one. That's almost like an animal pattern. And then I could go up here and fatten up that mark if I want. Let's make it thinner. There. So on and so forth, right? This one's a pretty good one. And then let's see what happens if we go a little thinner. So on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So don't get hung up in this thinking of these things are only for what they say they're for. They're just for whatever the hell you want them to be for, right?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
That's cool. Thank you, Mike.
That's really good, man. That looks really good. Now,
Over.
are you starting to get into it using
Yeah.
There's something about it that pulls me into it. It like feeds this other part of my brain in some weird way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a little frustrating just because like there's stuff that I want to do and I don't know how.
Well, that's
but figuring it out is fun.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
But you can see how rabbit holey it is, right?
Oh yeah. It could do a lot.
It's also just a great way to do big, bold work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're working through your stuff now.
Yeah.
So here on this person, and this is another one, same thing I just said to Josh. There's a lot of cool things you can do here, right?
Yeah.
Now, dolphins tend to be pretty smooth, but like, damn it. I don't need that. I don't need that. Okay. Here, I might come in here with my smoothing tool and just kind of shape that out. So you got a kink right there. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I usually work out with a smoothing tool. And then some of these, like maybe, let's take this one. I'm going to stick this over in my swatches to make it easier on myself, this custom color. And then I'm going to go put a gradient on this. I'm going to mess with the gradient. See, now I got my attenuator again.
Yeah.
Which is super weird. I don't understand that. So let's put this color that you had here, that one. And then let's get rid of this dark. I'm just going to put it to white. And then I'm going to pull this up. And then I might just go here, go to a 0. It's not enough. Let's go back. Wait, I want to go this way. You know, and I could pull it where it just kind of fades off into the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I actually have a question about that gradient tool. I don't know what it is I'm doing wrong, but when you set it to 0% on one side, it's supposed to go transparent completely, right?
Yes.
For some reason, when I do it, it just turns it into a white.
Okay,
Like
so go ahead.
No, it's still transparent, but it will fade to that color versus like just going completely transparent and blending with the background.
And you're double clicking it here and you're going to 0 here, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
one thing that I've noticed that seems to work better. Oops. That seems to work pretty good. Okay, another thing is you have to make sure that this is inside the shape, right? This final.
Right.
So it'll fade off to nothing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Because otherwise it's going to carry out. The other thing I noticed seems to work better if I change that color to white for some reason. You might be able to just change it the same color as the background or something. It shouldn't really matter, but it just seems to me like it works better when I change it to white.
You mean the part that's the
This part that's going transparent.
Okay.
I would try that because other than that, it should work because it's working on this file.
Good.
And then this, you know, and you don't want to do it everywhere. It's the same thing as what I always say. It's like you want to use it some places. You don't want to make all these the same, you know, because that's just design stuff. So you're not. What did you get your degree in, by the way?
Illustration.
Oh, good. I might find a place where I could sort of do a, maybe I'd look at a real dolphin. Hang on. So I have to make sure these things are on top. There might be a cool place where I can kind of make sure these shapes in here in the water are very deliberate. Like really, like I'd really want to get that foamy thing, right? Because that's what that's going to be more than likely.
Yeah.
And that has a very kind of specific pattern to it. I might try and find a spot in here. Maybe it's just maybe where I can get a little subtle core.
Okay.
That gives it just a little bit more form. Now it depends. If you're just going for super flat graphics, that's fine too. I have too much. Okay, so I have too much blur on it. So now I want to go back and adjust that. So I go back to my appearance and I can click this blur and it brings it back up so I can readjust it.
Okay.
And I have this in the wrong spot. Hang on.
And you just did a little line, right? Correct? When you
I
started
just did a line and then I blurred it. Now I want to see how much blur it needs on it.
Okay.
Oops, that's not enough. Oh, I got to preview it. Like maybe that. You know, and I might pull it back a little bit. I don't want it to become overwhelming. And I don't want too much blurry stuff. I don't want too many gradients. I don't want too many of anything. So I'm going to go to here to transparent. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
And then I might come in under here. And let's take this color. Okay, so now I'm going to take this color. And I'm going to go, same drill. I'm going to put this in here into my swatches just so I have the same color. Swatches. I'm going to drag this over here. So it just makes it easier when I try and do like gradients and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to pull it this way. I'm going to do the same drill. This is going to go to 0. And I'm also going to make it white. And then I'm going to drop down here and put this color in here. And I'm not getting 100%. Oh, that's why. I got to pull this. Actually, this should end before that. I can soften this up a little bit. I'm going to pull this down. And I would have to adjust this up here. And adjust this a little. That's probably okay. And I want to saturate this just a hair. There's usually ways to do this, but this is just fast. Oops. Yeah, that's all right. Then I'm going to take all this surface stuff. If I knew your layers, this would be a lot easier. I'm just going to take all this and get rid of this. I mean, stop this. I don't want this to be there. And for now, I'll just pull this all forward. And then maybe this needs to be all the way on top. I'm going to see if I can do this with an overlay to make it easier.
Okay.
What I'm looking for. Now, what I really need to do is put all the shapes that are in front of it, which I'm trying to do it faster. One of these should do it. And it might not. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So maybe that. Then I'm going to take this and knock it way down. And I would adjust that so I'm getting just a little bit of underneath, a little reflection off the water.
Okay.
And what you really should do is take all the smaller shapes and put it on top, and then you can totally control it. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
The reason I'm having trouble controlling it is because it's over. I'm trying to get it to work with all those other shapes underneath it. And what I would really do is all I'd have is the big superstructure shape of the dolphin, and then my my overlay with the color, and then all my smaller shapes on top.
On top of it?
Yeah,
the overlay?
This here would actually sit. So I would take all these. And usually this is just on another layer, so it's not a big deal. And I would pull all these forward. See, now this, and this all have to come forward again too. And again, I usually have that arranged in my layers. That way, the only thing I'm dealing with is this. And it needs to be in front of this one too. So I must not have pulled that. Oh no, this one it doesn't want to be in front of. So this one actually should be in front of it too. So it's just where I'm placing the shapes. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And then I just adjust it. So I'm just getting a little. Now, if that doesn't work, then I might just do a little key line down here. Maybe I'd go. So I want to get some of that.
reflection.
That's a really reflective surface, dolphins, right?
Mhm.
So maybe, or I could just take this and I could clip it with my scissors. Just clip it there, maybe clip it there. And now I've just got this. I could take this, put this here, turn it into a line, and then find my green reflective color and give it a key light underneath, like an edge light, right? Or I could do a combination of both. I just do a little hot belly, cool off the belly, and then put that little edge light on it, and it's really going to help it a lot.
Can
Yeah.
you go back and explain really quickly that scissor tool? Because I don't think I've used it.
Oh
before.
yeah, all the scissor tool I like is because it's very straightforward.
Mhm.
So here's, let's just say I have the shape, right?
Right.
I grab the scissors, I go, I want to cut it here, and I want to cut it there. And it now I can just get rid of the other stuff. So
Okay.
it's straightforward, you just cut things.
Okay.
You're just, it's create, so let's get rid of this fill line, boom. That's it. Right? So what I'm doing is, again, I'm reusing an asset that I've already created a shape, but I don't need the whole shape. I just need that line to perfectly line up underneath the belly for that key line. And then I could also come in here and go, okay, now I've got this line. Maybe I'm going to come in here. This is weird. Where'd all my shit go? I haven't rearranged my stuff in the way I like in a long time, obviously. Where's my width tool? Okay, that's super weird. Should be right here. Or right here.
Yeah, it was right there.
Where? Here?
Yeah, right. Go up one more. There it is.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I know why, because I was opening something up. Okay. And then I might take that tool here,
Mhm.
you know, just adjust the whole thing. So I get a more interesting line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that.
So, you know, and then I might even come back here. It's a little bit of a down facing plane. And I'd still use the same, I'd cut it out of the same shape. I'm just doing this to be quicker.
Mhm.
Maybe there's a little bit of reflection there because it's a little bit of a down facing plane, right?
Mhm.
And then maybe I'd go pull the transparency down because it's a lot further from the water. Just get a little hint of it. Right?
Yeah.
So then, because what you want to do is all that stuff you learned in illustration and painting and all that kind of stuff, pull that into this design process.
Mhm.
Because it gives you, I was just talking about this in my Photoshop class. It gives you, that's the advantage. Okay. When you know how to design using all these tools that you've learned, because that's giving you a base fundamental skill set that now when you put it in service to design, it's a really powerful skill set. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what the difference is. Anybody can learn this software. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? That's not what's important. What's important is what do you do with it? You know what I mean? Okay, you know how to use all these fancy filters and stuff, but it just looks like you're using a bunch of fancy filters and you don't know what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
I'm not talking about you, by the way. But you guys see it all the time because the digital world has created this problem of it's like giving guns to monkeys, right? Here, I'm going to give this monkey this incredibly powerful tool, and all it's going to do is probably kill itself or everything around it, right? It doesn't know how to use that, right? In a strategic way. Gun's a weird analogy, by the way. But it's the same thing with this. You're giving people, just everybody, these really powerful tools, and they don't know how to use them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I always use the analogy back in the 70s, especially in the 70s, airbrush was in a weird way was sort of like the computer of its time, if that makes any sense. But and people just made horrible stuff with it. Is this a 3D image?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't happy with the positioning and stuff of like the animals and the wall thing. So I just spent the time like yesterday just redrawing it and stuff.
Okay. So you're just moving along then, right?
Yeah, my redo is the one on the right.
We'll go over the 3D tool later, but that's cool. Have you used the 3D tool before?
Yeah, I played with it a couple of times.
Okay. It's pretty, this way of it is pretty straightforward. It's just an extrusion. Yeah, I'll talk about that maybe next week because it's real simple. Okay, but I want to show you some other things you can do with it that are kind of interesting. All right, so you're just moving along, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I just redrew this stuff on the bottom.
Now you got to work out your water here.
Yeah.
Once you get that work, how are you going to stylize that, And don't be afraid to go look at, don't copy it or whatever, but don't be afraid, you guys, to go look at it. I used to do this when I was like learning how to paint stuff, like Illustrate. And I'd go look at, I don't know, whoever, NC Wyeth or whoever. Actually, probably more modern illustrators at that point. And there's just ways that you do certain things that they teach you, if you're in a really good like illustration program or whatever. And I'd go and look at some illustrators, tall ship painting or whatever. And I just look at the way that they rendered the water and I go, oh, it's this shape. Then it's a darker. And then there's a lighter value of that shape going through it. Okay, I know I do that. And I repeat it. And then I would and that's just a general way you handle something. I'm not copying their style or anything. I'm looking at the mechanics of how they did it. Does that make sense? Like that one we looked at in Norm where the alligators half submerged. He didn't invent that, but he just used it, right? You're showing the surface detail, white water break, no detail, only silhouette, color over it, and you're done, right? And it really speaks to, breaking the surface like that. I think I'm actually going to make it through these. Oh, that's cool. Oops. I don't need this. Now this logo, I'd find a home for it.
Okay.
Right now, it's like right in the middle of everything. Be careful with these shadows. These could probably, they're bending a little weird, but I think that's okay. Just graphically, it's probably okay.
Okay.
They need to follow the same light, but then I think I would take these and just go, because I don't think they need to be that prominent. I just knock them back a little bit. This yellow, it's got a lot of green in it.
Okay.
And usually these road ones have a lot of warmth in it. See that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. That looks cool.
And then I'm going to pull it a little lighter. But that warmth feels a lot nicer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. This is getting more interesting here. This could get a little darker. Unless that's a ridge line or something.
Yeah.
It's way back there, so I don't need it that dark. It should stay closer to the value of what's behind it.
Okay.
Because it's far back. As things go further back, probably go just a hair darker than that. As things, I think I've said this, as things go back, the overall value and then the shadow value will get closer together. So this might be a 3 and a 5.
Okay.
Or if it's close up, if it's closer to me, this might be a 2, and then the range will go all the way to a 7 or something, right? So that they're more dramatic. The jumps between value are more dramatic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's interesting is you can look at things are off in the distance, because I see this all the time when I'm painting. I go, man, those mountains way back there look really dark. But then I'll look at something in the foreground that's like a tree or something, and all of a sudden you realize how not dark it is relative to that tree in the foreground. But when you just look at it by itself, it looks like it's really dark, because I go, those hills are dark. It's going to look weird if I paint them like that. And they don't look like that. If the things in the foreground are actually a lot darker. Usually, okay, unless light's hitting it or something weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Why do I have all those red outlines? Or how do I remove that?
These that are popping up. Oh, these?
Yeah.
It looks like you sliced it.
Ah.
So I'm not sure because I almost never use those. Slicing, it's for like web pages and stuff. It'll load better or something like that. I always forget, right? It'll slice the image. I'll probably talk about it later. I'll have to look at how you get rid of those. By the way, whoever was asking about the warping thing, basically, I think if you want to do that kind of thing where it's floating across something, you'd want to use your puppet warp tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I use for the shadows.
Yeah, you can use that. And then, you know, here, and this is just painting shit. You might come here and maybe, I'm just going to fake this. Got a gradient on it, so I got to go pretty deep.
Yeah, I use the grading on it.
I might pull this in here just down, and this is a drawing thing, and I'm not that worried about if you do this or not. I might fade this in and fade this in, and then get a little core shadow on the lip of that fold.
Okay.
And now, and then don't worry about that. If you don't do that, I don't care. I say that stuff for people who are illustrators, so they're understanding how things like core shadows relate to the real world. Okay, that's a fabric fold. So basically, you're looking at a micro edge of part of a cylinder, so I can get a little bit of a core on there, and it'll turn it really nice. Okay, but again, you don't have to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right on. I'll look up if we can get rid of. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to appearance. It's weird. I don't see it on here. I don't see that slice on here. We'll have to figure out how we can turn that off. You have to be able to turn it off.
Then you said just try to fit the logo better somewhere else.
Yeah, make it live somewhere, because when it's sitting here, it just feels like it's part of the landscape.
Okay.
And I'll figure out how to turn off the slice. I never use it because I don't do web pages. Is somebody's talking about putting the logo on the tent?
Yeah, that was me.
That's not a bad idea. And then maybe again, you can kind of warp it a little bit. I don't know if I'd warp it because it's her logo, but in here you can. Who cares? It's not an actual client. I think I'd get these leaves a little more leaf-like. So what I might do here is I might create a leaf shape and then use your symbol tool. Does that make sense? Where are you at? Who's this? Who is this? Anybody? Ryan. Where's Ryan? Is he here? Oh, there he is. How come I can't hear him? Am I missing something here? Okay, I'm moving on. I would make that as a symbol thing. And I just made it under the wire. I got a meeting in 6 minutes. Okay. Does that all make sense, you guys? Yeah?
Yeah.
I want to have one more pass at these, and they'll be due on Wednesday. And I put it up on Canvas, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll double check the date. I think I got it right, though. Do you guys want me to put the talk up? Yeah, I should today, right? Because we talked about quite a few things.
Yeah.
And we talked about all that.
Yeah.
So I'll put the video up.
Can you hear me now?
What's that?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, I don't know. My mic just wasn't working for some reason.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I was trying to fix my mic. Sorry.
Because I literally have 4 minutes right now. Okay, on these leaves,
Uh-huh.
I would create a leaf shape,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would use that as a scatter brush, or not a scatter brush, a symbol brush.
Okay.
Okay. And all you got to do with the symbols is you create a leaf shape, you know, create a more interesting leaf shape than I'm about to do. You know, you make a leaf shape. I wouldn't do this leaf shape because it's just kind of boring, but sometimes this leaf shape's fine. I'd probably do one and I'd probably rough it up and maybe do two. Ah, damn it. This is don't do a leaf shape this crappy. I'm just going to go to Pathfinder, divide. Oops, that's weird. Oh, that wasn't divide. Divide. Get rid of this. Give it a light and dark shape. You know, make an interesting looking leaf. This isn't an interesting looking leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to go to symbols, your palette, right here. Drag it in there. This is too big. I'm going to make it a little smaller. I'm going to make it a dynamics fine. Change movie clip to graphic. Hit OK. There it is. So now when I scatter that, come here to my spray bottle and I can scatter these leaves all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I go in here, all these things, I can adjust them. If I go right here, it'll disconnect that. And I can kind of go in here and go, okay, I want to move them around so they're not so uniform. Make some of them smaller. So if I make this brush a little smaller, I can hold. If I hold Option, they'll get bigger. If I hold smaller, they'll gather. So they're gathering a little bit. This will let me turn some of them or make some of them bigger and some of them smaller. I hold Option, some of them will get smaller. And then here, I can twist some of them. So translation, I can start to get them to be a little less uniform.
Okay.
And then I'll go in and scatter some by hand and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So all you gotta do is drag it in there and tell it not to be a movie, whatever it is. Just make it a graphic symbol.
Okay.
Okay. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I didn't get a chance to load the type. So that's why your types looks funky.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, that all make sense? Okay, Monday, I want to see these like pushed as far as you can get them to almost, or to finish if you can, if you think it's finished, because then we'll see what we can push. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Spend time on them, like make them look really good, okay? Because everybody's moving along really nice, okay?
Alright.
Okay, you guys, I'll see you on Monday, bright and
Cool.
early, 6 a.m.
What?
Changing the class times. Actually, 4 a.m.
Oh,
All right.
Got it.
I'll see you
Alrighty.
guys. Okay, you guys, you're doing a good job. Thank you.
all right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
I got to.